The biggest difference between a pitch deck that wins and the pitch deck that gets ignored is not design, not traction, and definitely not your 20 slide of PDF. It's the one-liner and the handshake version of the pitch, the hook of your entire company, and then one-liner of each slide of 12 total that investors, customers, and even your team member wants to understand in a nutshell. Up until now, I have reviewed literally thousands of decks across English-speaking Asia startup ecosystems who raised millions of dollars with hundreds of millions of dollars total valuations and work with hundreds of founders on their pitch decks. All follow the same core narrative structure and the same 12-slide skeleton. If you understand this structure, you are already miles ahead of most founders. So in this video, I'm going to break it all down for you. First, I will show you why one-liner is the DNA of your multi-billion-dollar pitch deck with real well-known examples from companies like Airbnb, Uber, Stripe, and Dropbox. And then second, I will walk you through the exact 12-slide investor framework every winning pitch deck uses and how VCs actually think when they look at your pitch. And third, finally, I will give you a simple exercise on how to structure your story like a good movie: context, conflict, and resolution, and a simple exercise to force clarity, one-liner per slide, the same method that I use with founders in my workshops. This is the 80-20 of your entire deck. That's what brings clarity and results, not the beautiful graphics. If you want investors to take you seriously, remember you, and give you that first meeting, you must learn how to build a powerful one-liner, both for an entire company and one-liners for each slice with a narrative structure that sits behind it. Within this roughly less than 20 minutes of video, you're gonna learn and have your own version and have practice. One-liner of the entire company. 2, one-liner of every slide that can also function as a 1-minute verbal pitch if you combine them. We also created a free editable practice deck and workbook put in the description below, so you can do at the same time while watching this video. It all starts with one-liner of the entire company and an idea, one-liner of each slide, layered with your own personal story that also can be converted into a 1-minute verbal pitch too. But we are not going to cover 1-minute pitch, which I have a video on that. You can check it out in my channel later. Instead, we are going to talk about how to start developing a pitch deck. So if you want to learn how to distill your idea into a sharp one-liner and then build a narrative that fits the standard 12-slide investor framework, you're already ahead of 90% of founders who created beautiful pitch deck that says nothing. I assure you, this will be the clearest and most practical pitch deck video you have ever watched. And I know this works because the founders who use this method consistently pitch better and get more meetings and build decks that investors can actually remember. Remember, a pitch deck and the pitch itself is the most valuable marketing material that you have, delivered by the most important person in the company, which is you, the founder. So I highly encourage you to pay attention till the end. And I had a bonus chapter with some gifts on this, which I also paired with a mini workshop that I'm going to share my screen and walk you through. We will do together. As a beginning, a quick disclaimer: this video for educational purpose only. Nothing here is a financial advice, investment advice, or solicitation to raise or offer capital. I'm just sharing some frameworks, experiences, ideas to help you pitch better. Please do your own research and use your own judgment. So let's get started. So step 1, everything starts with the DNA, your one-liner. The one-liner of entire company and one-liner for each slide. Your pitch deck is not a design project, it's a genetic engineering project, and the DNA is your one-liner. And if the DNA is bad, the organism doesn't grow properly, no matter how much you design beautiful slides or put a makeup on it. Look at these world-famous one-liners. Uber, tap a button, get it right. It says literally what it is, right? Airbnb, book your rooms from local hosts. Dropbox, your files anywhere. Stripe, online payments for developers. That was their initial target audience, but they expand on that, of course. Short, easy to visualize in your brain, repeatable, and no PhD is required to understand. This is the level you need. Simplicity. Your handshake pitch, the 15 to 20 seconds version, is the next layer of the DNA. Investors remember this, not your 20-slide deck. And trust me, they make decisions faster than I drink my morning coffee, which I drink my morning coffee fast. Step 2, develop a 1-minute verbal narrative. So now we are moving from DNA to narrative, and then the skeleton, and finally the deck. After your one-liner is strong, you write your narrative, your 1-minute pitch. This becomes the script of your entire deck, and the logical flow, the investor's memory anchor, the story you can say 200 times without crying. It's just like filmmaking. One-liner is the movie idea, narrative is a storyline, 12-slide deck is a storyboard, visual is the cinematography, and design is actually the post-production of it, the cuts, colorings, everything else. And yes, pitch decks are basically movies with more dramas. How to do that is so simple actually. Meanwhile, get the free editable practice deck and workshop book in the description below, by the way. And I will give you an exercise that you can hit multiple birds with a single rock. Step 3. Wrap the narrative onto the 12-slide skeleton, which is also an investor evaluation framework. This is the part that most founders struggle, honestly. I don't know why. Maybe because each slide requires its own storytelling and need to be really understand that topic of that each slide and distill everything you learn into one sentence. A bit challenging, but with more practice, you can really figure out that. I'm here to help you. This is the universal structure investors expect. 1. What slide, which gives the context. 2. Problem slide. 3. Solution slide. 4. Product slide. 5. Business model slide. 6. Market size slide. 7. GTM slide. 8. Competition slide. 9. Traction slide. 10. Roadmap slide. 11. Team slide. And 12. Ask and offer slide. So why this order? Because it mirrors how investors think in real partner meetings. And when I'm talking about partner meetings, please don't assume that they're going to be sit down properly and evaluate everything. Of course they do, but at the same time, it's also happening for all the water fun thing that they're going to drink water and they chat, right? Or at the same time, while they're grabbing coffee, or when they go to a lunch or dinner, and so on. Or sometimes over the phone. And this is how they're exchanging information with each other. The meeting is just like this. Here is a one dramatic example. Do you remember that guy, the bald guy he was pitching today, right? Okay, yeah. What was the idea, by the way? That's the what slide, right? They need to immediately remember, so you need to be remaining there, man. And what was the problem? And if you pass this, perhaps it continues with the problem. It's what was the problem that he solved really? And then how does it work? Then how it makes money? How big is the market? Who else is doing it? Are people really using it? Is there any traction so far? Who is the team? Are they really capable to do that? Do you think that he's going to figure out this? What they want from us? What's in it for us? And what's their ask? If your deck answers this in a clean, human conversational way, you win. 4. Add the human layer. Memory wins deals. Investors don't remember your charts, your beautiful graphics, or anything like this. They remember you, the founder, your story, your one-liner. Think about how we all remember famous founders. For example, Elon. Yeah, that Elon, the guy sending rockets into space and memes to the Twitter. Or Brian Chesky, who turned apartment floor into a global travel empire. Or the Collison brothers built Stripe to make payments disappear, which you don't even feel like making payments anymore. That good. You remember them with one line, one identity. You need to do the same effect. They need to remember you with just one thing. And I hope they don't remember you just like they do to me because, you know, the bald guy. So inside the partner rooms or anytime they exchange, it should be like this. Oh, do you remember her that she was pitching today? Oh yeah, she's the founder who's building Notion for legal teams, right? Yeah, that's awesome. You know, market is pretty big. Yeah, I know. She seems sharp and her background is solid. Plus the team that he's bringing on board is great. And they have good traction, this and that. Let's meet with her again. That's it. That's $1 million moment. And it all comes from a one-liner that sticks to the brain like super glue. Step 5. Add the story layer. Your story must follow a movie physics. Every great pitch follows the same storytelling logic as a good movie. Context, your what slide. Conflict, your problem slide. And the resolution, which is your high-level solution slide. But hold on yourself up there and don't spoil people too early. People should be hooked and continue listening till the end, and they should understand the opportunity. Look at any great startup narratives. Airbnb. Hotels are expensive. Travelers need affordable local stays. Rent room from real people. Uber. Taxis are unreliable. Riders need convenience. Tap a button, get a ride. Figma. Designers collaborate badly. Teams need real-life collaborations. Design in the browser. Simple. Conflict resolution. Just like your favorite movie, but fewer explosions, unless you're pitching to SpaceX. 6. The one-liner per slide exercise. Founders hate it, but it works. So here's the exercise that I use to teach a ballpark of 300 founders from 20 countries so far at our accelerators and other accelerators and venture capital firms' portfolios. Oh, by the way, don't forget to get your free editable practice deck and workbook in the description below so you can do that at the same time with me. So write 1 sentence per slide. Why? It forces clarity. It kills fluff. It makes your logic waterfall. It builds the skeleton of your deck. Once you have one-liner for every slide, then you build visuals, design, story, flow. This is how you turn a massive idea into a multi-million-dollar pitch deck. I know it sounds easy, but you're gonna need several iterations by getting feedbacks. That's why we run regular pitch practice rooms so you can practice, secure your spot for upcoming one. Also, whenever you wanna make a pivot or some major updates, I highly recommend you to go back to this one-liner per slide exercise first, instead of making edits on the final polished version of the pitch deck. So from now on, I'm going to share the screen and let's dive in. Alright, now let's switch to screen share, and I want to show you how I would build a pitch deck from scratch. To keep things fair, I'm not going to use a real startup. I'm going to pick an idea that definitely belongs to no one. Something imaginary and something intentionally silly. And that idea is Whisker World, a VR headset and virtual adventure experience for cats. And yes, VR for feline friends, cats. If someone turns this into a real startup that raises millions of dollars, I want at least some recognition as a royalty. Anyway, let's get started. So I'm taking 3 video series for pitch deck development. So we are in the current video 1 phase. More on that later. There is also actually a 1-minute pitch video guide, but not part of this series. I highly encourage everyone to watch that one too. I will put in the link below. So now let's build the skeleton of this deck together using the one-liner per slide method. As we go, I will point out what matters on each slide, give a few important points each slide, and show you how simple is this process really once you understand the structure. Here is a template that I created so you can easily duplicate to do your own version. So here are the essential section slides of the PitchDeck, which is a master evaluation framework in our brains actually. Before we begin, I would like to give one analogy. Imagine that when you do this exercise, imagine that you're trying to hang a beautiful chandelier, beautiful and very expensive chandelier, which represents your ask, which is the end goal of the entire pitch. Which you hand this to a weak ceiling, the foundation, which is the hook, needs to be very strong on the ceiling. And every slide here represents the one chain, and those chain has to be interconnected very properly. It will hold up the entire valuable chandelier, right? Which is what you're looking for from the audience, basically. I think that analogy is very helpful for us to be able to understand. The hook, which is the first slide, every other slide needs to be interconnected. So if I will go through with each very quickly, for example, what the context slide is the hook, and then the problem slide, because naturally people want to hear this flow, right? So what is this company, and then what is the problem they're solving, what is the solution they have, and then what is their product, what is the product look like, what is the business model, which is what is the price of it, and what is the market opportunity and why now, and what is the go-to-market, how they're going to go to market, and what is the competition look like, who else is doing this, and what is the traction so far, what have done so far, and the roadmap, which is what they're going to do from now on, and who's doing it, which is a team, and what they are looking for, which is the ask on first slide. All of them logically intertwined, connected. It really needs to be very strong. And with the analogy also shows us, if you feel like any chain is weak, you need to go back one by one and try to fix it. Ideally, start from the DNA, which is the first slide. If the definition, the one-liner really sticks, if it resonates, everything else will come up much easier. If you stuck some point, you might want to revisit there. With that being said, let's get started. So the first, which is the what slide, which gives the context to us, right? So the first slide stays the most on the screen longest. Make it instantly rememberable. One message only. This is the cover of your entire pitch. You can maybe do a little bit clickbaity. Here's a funny one-liner example. In an imaginary company that we have is Whisker World, right? Whisker World, the world's first VR adventure headset for cats to have 40 million indoor cats in the US alone who experience boredom and lack of stimulation. Let's go to the next one, which is the slide 2, the problem slide. State the problem clearly here. Add numbers, make it urgent, make it look like hair's on fire problem as much as you can. You need to build some urgency and attention in here. A little bit slightly agitated, but you need to back up with the numbers. So one liner here is, indoor cat spends 15 to 18 hours idle every day. Lead on stress, obesity, and disruptive behaviors, which 60% of domestic cats show sign of anxiety, inactivity due to low stimulation, leads furniture damage, annually reported $5 billion on unplanned toy expenditures. Wow, that is very interesting problem statement, right? So moving forward with the slide 3, which is a solution, that is the high-level value prop. So the solution must answer the conflict introduced in the problem slide and make it simple and make it purposefully a little bit more high level. Some people interchangeably use with the product slide and solution slide. Here's the one-liner. Immersive VR experience that activates cats' natural hunting, exploring, and play instincts. So let's go to slide 4, which is the product, the underlying magic. Focus on the product attributes. You need to make us visual in our mind, even with verbal communication. You might want to use some analogies, so on. Just if you can focus on the attributes, the physical attributes of the product, people really understand literally what it does. So one-liner here is a lightweight, cat-safe VR headset preloaded with 6 interactive virtual worlds, 45 grams, adjustable straps, intuitive feline-friendly design. Alright, slide 5, which is the business model. As you can see, we understand what is this, and we understand what is the problem it's introduced us, what is the high-level solution and the product look like, and naturally you would end up asking, how much is this, right? How is the price? With the business point of view, we want to understand the economics also, but anyways, at this point, we want to understand what is the business model in general. So keep the business model simple as possible. 1 or 2 revenue streams is enough to demonstrate at this stage. So here's the one-liner. Hardware for $89 plus monthly subscription of $7.99 for new VR environments, which is the affordable quality. Let's go to slide 6, which is the market opportunity, which is why now, right? Imagine yourself, you're an investor and you're evaluating a business opportunity, right? You would really assess what is this product is all about, what are the features are, what is the attributes are, how much is this? Naturally, after the business model, you would be curious about what is the market look like and how they're going to go after the market. Immersers want scale, not complexity. And you might going to need, of course, a lot of researchers. Keep them in the appendix. At this phase, make a teaser version of it in this phase. Here's a one-liner of the market opportunity for the Whisker World. 40 million cats in the US alone. That's a lot of cats, by the way. $150 billion global pet industry. We are focusing on USA with the 40 million cats. The pet industry alone is $49 billion industry with 7% CAGR rate, which is annual compounding growth rate, with the $5 billion spent annual on enrichment products alone. As you can see, it clearly states the temps and so on. When you do the design, of course, you might want to visualize it more with the graphic, but at this phase, just try to pitch it as visual, as conversation as possible. Imagine that you're doing this one in a 1-minute pitch format. Of course, this needs to be much shorter than that when you do the 1-minute pitch. But let's go to slide 7, the go-to-market. One of my favorite one, honestly, and most founders a bit confused in this. So now we understand the market, right? So next thing is how we're gonna go after that market, literally. Give 3 channels maximum, keep it concrete. Analogies also helps to make us understand. Try to make it as simple as possible to understandable as possible, basically. So one-liner in this scenario, we will launch through the pet influencers, veterinary partnerships, online pet supplier, retailers partnerships we're going to do. So as you can see, there is this distribution partnerships angle. It's more heavy in this scenario, which is more makes sense in their scenario. UGC, creators, and strategic partnerships works well in their go-to-market strategy. Maybe content marketing, viral marketing, and so on. That sort of things also could help. Keep it simple as much as possible. And moving forward with the competition. Again, the chain effect, you understand the market now, you would want to know who else is performing in that market, right? But do not attack the competitors. Show the gap that you can fill in. So one line is, traditional toys provide limited stimulation. Whisker World delivers adaptable, endless interactive play. So moving with the slide 9, which is attraction. The traction and the roadmap can be together or separated in this scenario, as you can see. So even early traction matter, numbers give immediate credibility. Make it hot, demanded, and oversubscribed. We have a separate program and also have a separate video on that too. I'm going to add in the description of this video, which is actually can be engineered. But when you start engineering that traction, it's actually one of the best way of learning what are the cracks of your on the plan. So if something really doesn't work, you might want to go back to the whiteboard and reiterate, because the traction building is really facing with your customers, partners, and so on, right? There are many techniques on that. It's completely engineerable. If you want to learn more about that, watch my video on that, or feel free to reach out my own LinkedIn. Or by the way, assuming that this is a pre-seed stage startup idea. So 160 beta testers, 78% daily engagement rate, and 42% expressing willingness to pay. And moving forward with the slide 10, which is a roadmap. So focus on the outcomes, not the tasks. Keep the roadmap linear. Traction and the roadmap should be interconnected, just like the rest of the slide, but these has closer proximity. We want to know where are you coming from, where are you now, and where are you heading from now on, clearly and logically. So here's the one-liner for this. Launch the version 1, expand subscription content, add veterinary partnerships, and then global rollout. So that also explains where the money will be spent on too. And moving forward with the slide 11, which is a team. You know, as you can see with our initial analogy, hanging the chandelier with the proper chain, right? At this point, you will be curious, naturally, who is the team behind, who's building this? In many cases, investors want to maybe learn you first, but that's a different topic on that, because investors bet on teams. One defined sentence per team is actually enough to be able to understand the capability of the team. Try to make us understand your capability, your background, your relationship with this topic, this problem phase, and so on. The best analogy to understand your position as a team member who is solving this issue is, in most cases, you're either a patient or a doctor in this problem space. So one line for that is, we are engineer, veterinary behavior specialist, and direct-to-consumer growth marketer. Personally, having owned multiple cats counts as a field research. Maybe you might want to add this kind of humor too, of course. Slide 12, ask and offer. The last slide is one of the most important slides, because first slide and last slide remains the most in the stage. Generally, make it inspiring, invite collaborations, not just asking money. So one-liner for this example could be like raising $300K to bring interactive VR enrichment to millions of indoor cats worldwide, inviting investors, partners, early testers, and content creators, and anyone who wants to help shape the future of the feline experiences. So that's it. Now, before we leave this screen share, I want to share a complete list of foundational principles and all the summarized list of advice that had happened here that I couldn't cover while I'm sharing the screen. That every founder should use when building a pitch deck, when developing a pitch deck, especially in the early stages. These are based on reviewing decks and helping founders pitch better. So let's go over quickly. So 8, summarized list of all the advice that we have, which is the first one is the hook, delivery, and memory. Begin with a strong hook that lifts people's heads up, surprise them, and create curiosity. The first and last slide stays on the screen the longest. Treat them as a premium real estate. Do not hide weaknesses, learning velocity, and show what you have improved so far. And second, clarity and simplicity. Every one line of every slide must be clear, confident statement-like. Keep it short, simple, and easy to understand. One slide, one message, and the entire deck should communicate one overarching message from the founder. Less text is better. Use a bigger headline and the most supported line. Keep it under 3 lines total. Use analogies to make concepts simpler and relatable. Don't over-describe the features, instead describe moments. Make people imagine and feel what you're creating. 3. The structure and flow. Stick to the standard slide order in the beginning. You can innovate later after you have pitched dozens of times. Do not overcomplicate the process. Give yourself 10 to 15 minutes to drop quickly. Limiting yourself with the Pomodoro technique helps you a lot. Use the rest of the time to gather insights refined by pitching. Each slide is a pitch by itself, but all slides must be interconnected just like a chain. No weak links, please. 4 is a validation and market understanding. If you're early in the idea stage, take your one-liner and talk to as much people as possible. See if it sticks or not. This helps you understand your market and audience. Conversations beats assumptions. Pitch the earliest version to people and ask them to rate 1, 2, 4, or 5. No 3 is allowed. Test whether people remember your pitch in 24 hours later, which you can follow up. Memory is the ultimate validation. 5. Thinking and communication. Record yourself pitching out loud. You will hear immediately what makes sense and what does not. Use a whiteboard or a pen and paper and pretend that you're teaching your idea to other people. Teaching reveals the understanding. Build a conversation first pitch, not a presentation first pitch. Decks do not raise money, conversations do. And 6, mission and collaboration. End with the mission people that belongs to, not just the investment ask. Invite all forms of collaborations, investors, partners, early users, ambassadors, supporters, anyone. Because the chances are that how many investors in that a general event, maybe at maximum 10%. I'm assuming that it's a general pitch event. Of course, if it is an investor-only gathering or a demo day or something like this, you might want a little bit more customized. Okay, that's all. This is the full structure, full example, and complete philosophy behind building a strong pitch deck from the ground up. You can now apply this method to any idea, even silly or serious, and it will help you to build clarity, storytelling, and structure that investors and collaborators can understand and remember. So here's my final message and what's coming next. Founders think a deck is a design challenge. It's not. It's a storytelling project on a clarity challenge. It's a narrative of your startup company. It's a success narrative, and it's a step-by-step development project. This video and the exercise will help you a lot before even worrying about final design components of it yet. Actually, your entire pitch deck is just your one-liner, stretched into a story, wrapped into 12 slides, and delivered in a conversational way with your personality. If you get the DNA right, everything else becomes 10x easier. If you get the DNA wrong, no amount of design can save it. This is the foundation of a pitch deck, and yes, potentially can raise millions of dollars. Now that you understand the DNA and the skeleton of a multi-million-dollar pitch deck. But here's the fun part. Right now, what you have is the structure and the DNA and the bones and joints and narrative logic. But a great deck also needs muscles, the skins, and yes, even some cosmetics, of course the storytelling cosmetics. The slides, the visuals, the transition, the pacing, and the emotion, everything that makes a deck feel alive and fundable. As I mentioned before, I'm making 3 different videos on this, and the next one is going to be how to level up your pitch deck, muscles, skins, and cosmetics, which is the slide designs and so on. So in this next video, I will show you how to choose visuals that do 80% of the talking, how to apply storytelling layers on the top of these 12 slide skeletons, how to make every slide feels like a continuation of the story, how to script your deck so it flows naturally without over-explaining, how to use tension, contrast, micro hooks inside of every slide, and how to make the entire deck look like it belongs to a VC partner meeting rather than getting lost in the giant spreadsheet database. This video is all about taking your raw structure and turning it into something polished, rememberable, and actually fundable. And the third video will be how to pitch like a pro, which is the delivery, intonation, word choices, the presence. Because this is where 90% of the founders fail. Even though you have a perfect deck, you need to be able to pitch in a very high energy with high conviction, right? I'm making a separate third video where I will break down how to sound confident without overselling, how to choose words that hit the investor brains directly, how to control your pacing, tone, and strategic pauses, how to pitch with humanity, not robotic energy, how to answer questions without panicking, how to keep attention even the room is bored and tired. Basically, how to deliver your pitch so well so investors remember you, the founder. Because a pitch doesn't raise money. A founder who communicates clearly raises the money. A pitch deck is a canvas. You are the art, the one who gives the entire context, story, and what makes it valuable. Here's my final closing notes in this video. Because we work with a lot of founders, I realized that one of the biggest problems most founders have is to be able to pitch and practice and get feedbacks to reiterate in a safe space. So that's why we do regular pitch practice and feedback group calls. If you want to hop on, make a practice and get friendly feedback, sign up for future ones. The link is in the description. And if you find this video valuable, please give a like or leave a comment, share with your friends. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.